This is a variation on the questions that ask you to find the equation of a perpendicular line. The variation is that it doesn't actually use the word perpendicular, but the clue is it has an isosceles triangle. The thing to remember, the property of an isosceles triangle you want to remember for these, is that when we have this, if we go from a midpoint on the base, and we go up to the apex at the top here, that will be at 90 degrees, forming the perpendicular line. Now, as with all of these questions, the good starting point is to do a little sketch of the points that they give you, to give you an idea of what the question looks like. Now, B is minus 1, 5, so I'm going to put that somewhere over on the left-hand side here. That's point B, minus 1, 5. C is to the right of it and up because it's 2, 10, so a little bit to the right and go up, and that's going to be C, 2, 10. Join those together. M is the midpoint of that. I don't know which side of the y-axis it is, but I'm just going to put it in there. And then A is such that AB and BC and AC are the same. So there's two places I could put that. I could put A up here, or I could put A down here. Now, before we get stressed about making a decision, if you actually look at it logically, it makes absolutely no difference. If I put it up here, and I draw a straight line through, it would clearly go to the same place, go through my other point A for whichever point I choose. I'm going to go for the one at the top, just because it kind of looks nice. So I'm going to leave that in there, just get rid of this little point down here. So my A is going to be up there. I don't know what the coordinates of A are. So that's my sketch. I'm looking at BC, and I can see that BC is definitely rising, so that is a positive gradient. And gradient is the first thing I think I will try and work out on this question. So the gradient of BC, let's do that first. The gradient of BC, well, that's the change in y over the change in x. If we imagine a little right angle triangle here, the height of the triangle is going to be 10 subtract 5, so 10 minus 5. And the change in x is going to be the 2 subtract the minus 1, 2 minus 1. And that gives me, what does that give me? That gives me 5 over 3. So that's a positive gradient. Now I want the gradient of my perpendicular AM. So the gradient of AM, well, that is going to be the negative reciprocal of the gradient of BC. And so that's the negative reciprocal of 5/3. And if you're doing the negative of reciprocal of a fraction, you just turn the fraction upside down and you change the symbol. So we've got negative 3 over 5. That's the gradient of my line AM. And next I'm going to find the midpoint. So what is the coordinates of point M? Well, M is, if you look at it, it's going to be halfway along in terms of x and halfway up in terms of y between the 2 points. So the coordinates for M can be written in a big set of brackets like this. And I can do, add my two x coordinates, so 2 plus negative 1 divided by 2, that gives me halfway. 10 plus 5 divided by 2 gives me halfway in the y direction. So what does that give me? That gives me 2 minus 1, so that's 1/2 for my x. And 10 plus 5 is 15 over 2 is 7.5, so I can write that as a decimal. I don't mind mixing in fractions and decimals at this point. So that's my midpoint for M. Now I want the gradient of line AM. I can use the form of y equals mx plus c, where m is the gradient and c is the intercept. I don't know the intercept, but I do know the gradient. So I put the gradient, which is minus 3/5, into my equation. Minus 3/5 x plus c. And to find c, I can put in a pair of coordinates I know on that line, which is the midpoint m. So when x is 1/2, so minus 3/5 multiplied by 1/2, y is equal to 7.5. Let's tidy this up a bit. It's not particularly pleasant using decimals and fractions, but we'll roll with it. So we've got 7.5 is equal to minus 3 over 10, and that's plus c. So what is c equal to? C equals 7.5 plus 3 over 10. And if you put that into your little calculator, you will get an answer for c. Will work out as 7.5. 0.8. If you think about it, it's 3/10 is 0.3, so C is 7.8. So my equation now, I go into this one here, I do y equals minus 3/5 x plus 7.8. It's not pleasant leaving it like that. Let's just put that as a decimal form. So y equals minus 3/5 is 0.6, so minus 0.6 plus 7.8. Now note, if you look at the mark scheme, the mark scheme will actually tell you that the answer is 5y plus, I think it was 3x equals 39. And then it has the word letters OE. That means or equivalent. What we've actually written is equivalent to that. You can work it through if you wish, because we can turn it into fractions. So we've got minus y equals, so go back to the minus 3/5x, and that is plus 78 over 10. 78 over 10 will simplify, so that can then become 39 over 5. I can multiply through by 5 to give me 5y equals minus 3x plus 39, and then you can see I can add the 3x over. That stuff in blue you just don't need to do. Once we've got an equivalent answer, we're fine and we're good to go and get the marks. You most likely will get the marks at this point, but it's not pretty, so at least put it into decimal form there. If you've got the movement across in decimal form slightly wrong, you're not going to be marked down. They would give the award most likely at this point. So that should be enough to get you the grade. Again, just remember, with this question, it looks more tricky than it is. The difficulty is it does not say perpendicular. Look out for the isosceles. That's your clue on how to actually begin the question, and then it follows pretty much similar to all the other questions of this type.